Your Toyota is shaking at idle. Check engine light on. You plug in a scanner and get P0300, random misfire. You take it to a dealer and the service advisor slides a quote across the counter. Over $1,000, induction cleaning, coil packs, the works. He tells you high-mileage Japanese engines just do this, that it's carbon, that it's wear, that it's time. He's wrong. The fix costs $1 and it's sitting on a shelf at any pharmacy in the country. Between 1999 and 2006, 22 states moved to regulate the exact compounds that make this work. By the end of this video, you'll know what to buy, how to use it, and why no one told you sooner. Picture a 2003 Lexus IS300 with 240,000 miles on the clock. The 2JZ under the hood is one of the most over-engineered engines Toyota ever built. The kind of motor that mechanics point to when they want to prove Japanese reliability isn't a myth, but this one is shaking at idle so badly the owner can feel it through the floor mat. Cold starts are the worst. The RPM swings between 500 and 900, hunting for a stable number it can't find. Under light throttle, there's a hesitation, a half-second stumble that wasn't there at 200,000. The scanner shows P0300. Random misfire, no cylinder preference, just the engine misfiring somewhere, the ECU logging it, and the owner watching the check engine light stay on no matter what they try. And they tried. New spark plugs went in first, the correct NGK iridiums, gap to specification, no change. Then a full set of ignition coils, because on a 200,000-mile Japanese engine, that's the logical next suspect. Still shaking. MAF sensor came off, got cleaned with the correct spray, reinstalled. The idle RPM settled slightly, maybe, but the misfire codes kept coming back. At that point, the owner had spent close to $400 chasing a problem that wasn't getting smaller. Then, someone who had worked on Japanese motors for 20 years handed them a brown bottle of 91% isopropyl alcohol from a dollar store. No instructions, just put 2 ounces in before your next fill-up. The owner did it, mostly out of frustration. Half a tank later, the RPM hunting backed off. The cold start shutter got shorter. By the time the tank ran dry, the P0300 had stopped returning. They cleared the code, ran another full tank with a second treatment, and the idle has been steady ever since. This isn't a single lucky outcome. It happens on the 2 AZFE in high-mileage Camrys. It happens on Honda K-Series engines. It happens on Nissan's QR25. The same symptoms, the same non-fixed parts replacements, the same result when someone finally tries the $1 bottle. There's a specific reason these engines respond this way. It comes down to how carbon builds inside them over time. Here's the thing about Japanese engines. The traits that make them last are the same traits that make this problem inevitable. The 2 AZFE, the Honda K-Series, the Nissan QR25, these motors are built tight. Tight tolerances, conservative tune from the factory, long service intervals that owners follow because the engines earn that trust. They run for 200,000 miles because the engineering doesn't cut corners. But longevity means cycles. Hundreds of thousands of combustion events, each one leaving behind a trace of residue that the next one doesn't fully clear. Gasoline doesn't burn perfectly. It never has. Every combustion cycle leaves a small amount of partially burned fuel, gum, varnish, carbon particulate on the intake valves, the piston tops, and the injector tips. At 50,000 miles, it's a film. At 150,000, it's a layer. At 200,000 on a motor that's never had a solvent treatment, it's a crust that's been baked on by thousands of hours of heat cycling. That crust chokes airflow. It narrows the passage around the intake valve so the cylinder doesn't fill the way the ECU expects. It sits on injector tips and distorts the spray pattern, turning a clean cone of atomized fuel into an uneven stream. It creates hot spots on piston crowns that ignite the mixture at the wrong moment. a fraction of a millisecond early or late, and the ECU reads that as a misfire event. Enough of those, and P0300 lights up. Now, direct injection makes this significantly worse. On a Toyota D4S engine or a Honda Earth Dream setup, the injector fires directly into the combustion chamber. Fuel never passes over the intake valves on its way in. That's great for fuel efficiency and power output, but in a port-injected engine, every intake stroke washes a small amount of fuel across the back face of the intake valve, and that fuel carries away some of the carbon before it can bake on. Direct injection removes that cleaning step entirely. The intake valve stem sits in the path of PCV blow by gases, oil mist and combustion residue recirculated from the crankcase with nothing to wash it clean. Over time, carbon builds on the valve stems and back faces until the valve can't seal properly, airflow gets disrupted, and what was a smooth idle becomes a rough one. Ethanol-blended fuel accelerates every part of this. Ethanol burns cooler than gasoline. In older fuel systems, and most high-mileage Japanese engines from the early 2000s fall into this category. The fuel trim calibration wasn't designed around 10% ethanol content. The engine runs slightly lean. Combustion temperatures drop just enough to leave more residue per cycle, and deposit formation speeds up. This is why a Camry or an Accord that idled cleanly at 120,000 miles can be shaking at 180. The fuel changed. The engine didn't adapt. 91% isopropyl alcohol is a polar solvent. What that means in practical terms, it bonds to and dissolves the organic compounds, the gum, the varnish, the carbon residue that gasoline alone can't shift. Think about removing dried adhesive from a windshield. Water does nothing, but IPA cuts through it immediately. The chemistry inside the combustion chamber follows the same logic. The solvent travels through the fuel system, contacts every surface the fuel touches, and starts breaking the deposit matrix apart. When it burns completely and leaves nothing behind. The chamber comes out cleaner than it went in. Seafoam has been built around this chemistry since 1942. Isopropyl alcohol is one of its 3 listed primary ingredients. What you're buying at the dollar store for $1 is the same core mechanism without the petroleum distillates, without the proprietary blend, and without the $15 price tag. And if you haven't noticed yet, we're here to save you time, money, and headaches. Please hit the like and subscribe button to help this channel help you. Now, here's why you've never heard about this from a mechanic. In 1990, Congress passed the Clean Air Act amendments. One provision required that gasoline sold in high smog areas contain a minimum percentage of oxygenate compounds, chemicals that help fuel burn more completely and reduce certain emissions. The law didn't specify which oxygenate. The market decided, and by the late 1990s, the market had chosen MTBE, methyl tert butyl ether. It was cheap, it blended easily, and by 1999, it was showing up in 87% of all reformulated gasoline sold in the United States. Then, the EPA's own Blue Ribbon panel released its findings in 1998. MTBE was contaminating groundwater. It dissolves readily in water, and when gasoline leaked from underground storage tanks, which happens constantly at gas stations across the country, the MTBE didn't stay in the soil. It migrated into drinking water supplies at concentrations detectable in parts per billion, giving water a turpentine taste. California moved first, banning it by executive order in 1999. By 2006, 22 states had restricted or eliminated its use entirely, and a federal phase-out was underway. The oxygenate requirement didn't disappear with MTBE. The law still stood. The industry needed a replacement, and the one that came with EPA and USDA backing was ethanol. Ethanol attracts water. It phase separates from gasoline under certain moisture conditions. It runs lean in older carbureted systems, and it produces exactly the rough idle and intermittent misfires that now generate 4-figure repair quotes in dealership service bays. If your Japanese engine idles rougher in summer, that's not coincidence. Summer fuel formulations carry higher ethanol concentrations, and older Japanese fuel trims feel it. Here's the part worth sitting with. Under Section 211 of the Clean Air Act, any substance added to fuel for sale requires federal registration with the EPA. That process costs money, significant money, which meant that when the regulatory environment shifted after the MTBE ban, only large chemical companies could afford to keep products on shelves legally. Smaller formulations, simpler solutions, the kind of thing a petroleum worker or a backyard mechanic might have used for decades, got priced out of the registered market. The knowledge didn't become illegal, it just became invisible. The companies that navigated the registration process successfully are the same ones now selling $40 bottles of fuel system cleaner. The same companies whose lobbying helped shape which replacement oxygenates got approved are profiting from the rough idle that fuel formulation helped create. That's not speculation. It's a sequence of public events documented in EPA records anyone can read. The knowledge never stopped working. It got buried under branded packaging and a regulatory structure that made doing it yourself feel uninformed. That ends here. So here's the scene. A high-mileage Toyota Camry with the 2 AZFE is sitting in a driveway, idling rough. RPM is hunting. The cold start shutter hasn't fully settled even after 5 minutes of warm-up. The owner has a brown bottle of 91% isopropyl alcohol they bought at a pharmacy for $1. No additives, no fragrance, no moisturizers, just the concentration that matters. The 70% version stays on the shelf. It carries too much water and not enough solvent to cut through what's baked onto those chambers. 91% is the one. Before the next fill-up, 2 ounces go into the tank first, not after. You want the gasoline pouring in on top of it, because the pressure and volume of filling the tank does the mixing for you. No funnel, no measuring equipment beyond a standard shot glass. The cap goes back on, and the owner pulls out of the gas station like nothing happened. What happens next, you can't see, but you can understand it. The alcohol moves through the fuel pump with the gasoline, through the lines, through the injector tips, into the combustion chamber. Every surface it contacts starts to lose the grip that carbon and varnish have built up over years of heat cycles. And when it fires, it burns off completely. No new residue. The chamber finishes each cycle a fraction cleaner than it started. On a mild case, moderate deposit buildup, engine hasn't been neglected, the idle starts to settle within half a tank. The RPM stops swinging. The cold start shutter shortens from 30 seconds to 10. In heavier cases, the first tank is quieter than the engine was, but the real shift comes on the second treatment. Now, on a direct injection engine, a Toyota D4S or a Honda Earth Dreams, the tank treatment alone isn't enough. We already know why. Fuel bypasses the intake valves entirely, and years of PCV blow-by have layered carbon onto those valve stems with zero cleaning action to counter it. Getting solvent to those surfaces requires a different path. The air intake hose comes off the throttle body. Engine stays at idle. A clean spray bottle loaded with 91% isopropyl alcohol delivers short, 2-second bursts directly into the throttle body opening, with a few seconds between each burst to let the engine recover its footing. The engine stumbles a little each time. That stumble is the signal. Concentrated solvent is landing directly on the back faces of the intake valves, exactly where the deposits have been building. After about 2 minutes of this, the intake hose goes back on. The engine idles for 10 minutes while the softened carbon starts to break loose. Then a highway run clears out whatever has come free. Here's the checklist you're watching for after treatment. Idle RPM stabilizes and holds at a consistent number without hunting. Cold start shaking clears up within 1 to 3 heat cycles instead of lingering. P0300 or any cylinder-specific misfire codes stop reappearing after you clear them. Throttle response under light load feels direct, no half-second lag when you ease onto the pedal. When those 4 things are true, the deposits aren't just suppressed, they're gone. One objection comes up every time. Alcohol damages rubber seals. At high ethanol concentrations in E85 territory, that's a real concern. At 2 ounces per 10 gallons, the concentration in the fuel sits below 1.5%. Any Japanese vehicle built after 1990 was engineered to handle 10% ethanol blends. This treatment isn't close to that line. For ongoing maintenance, treat every other tank for the first 2 fill-ups, then drop to once every 3 or 4 tanks. A single 16-ounce bottle covers 8 to 12 treatments. On a 15-gallon Japanese sedan, total annual fuel system maintenance cost runs under $5. That Lexus ES300 from the beginning of this video is still running, still smooth, because the owner stopped replacing parts and started treating the actual problem: carbon, not coils. Every induction cleaning service, every coil pack swapped out on a hunch, every diagnostic fee charged against a rough idle that was never about the ignition system. That's the real cost of not knowing this. 91% isopropyl alcohol, 2 ounces per 10 gallons, every few tanks. That's it. Drop a comment with your make, model, mileage, and whether you're dealing with rough idle, misfires, or both. I want to see what's sitting in driveways right now. Subscribe to Japanese Motor Vault for more engine and money-saving tips.